This video contains violence, animal death, mild blood, and visible wounds. Viewer discretion is advised. Enjoy.
This is a newly hatched Allosaurus. She has been abandoned by her family because of her disorder. Now, without the guidance of an adult, she must learn to hunt and survive on her own. She will soon find survival does not come very easily. Since she is new to this world, she has many places she must recognize for the better of her future. She must learn where each critter is located, as well as where fresh water is. On this island, there are many water sources, but not all are fresh water. As she takes a glance around, a very peculiar scent catches her attention. Her natural instincts kick in. Now she must follow the scent to its location. A tiny mound catches her attention. She seems to have noticed that inside these mounds are critters. These critters will be what she feeds on at her young age until she can hunt something bigger. But in order to eat them, she must catch them. She will soon find that her soon-to-be meal will be quick, so she must be quicker. As fun as a game of chase is, she has limited time to catch this critter before it escapes back into the ground. Because of its smaller size, its turning radius is smaller than the Allosaurus's. She must either catch it as it takes a turn or hope the landscape will be in her favor. This critter, eager on living, uses a few tricks up its sleeve to loose the Allosaurus. Sudden stops has caught this dinosaur off guard, giving the critter many chances of escape. Thinking it has lost the Allosaur, it stops for a rest. Little does it know an accidental heavy step is all it takes to turn it into lunch. Now she can enjoy her hard-earned yet accidental meal. As she was looking for a water source, the sound of heavy wings comes from the near distance. An adult Draco viper. This Allosaur must be smart. Any sudden movements could notify the Draco viper of her presence. Luckily, she managed to avoid the Draco viper altogether. Beside her, she noticed a pile of bones. The Draco viper managed to find something else to snack on. Once she felt the coast was clear, she continued her search for a water source. After her long journey, she comes across a hot spring. Though not an ideal water source, it's the best she's found in her time of searching. As well as now was not the time to be picky. A familiar sound interrupts her peaceful drinking. The thought-to-be-gone Draco viper. Worried about her safety, she evacuates the area, putting some distance between her and the Draco viper. Luckily, even if the Draco viper had seen her, it wasn't interested in a meal. It seemed to have been here to drink and leave right after. This Allosaur, still fearful of the Draco viper, wasted no time, so as quickly as she arrived at the hot springs, she left. As time went on, she grew. Her adult markings slowly became more and more noticeable. As the seasons change, the weather gets warmer and the foliage grows drier. She begins her journey to an area where the forest fires are less likely to happen, as the area she's in is a hot spot for fires. In this area, she must watch her every step. One mishap could result in a fractured leg. If that happens, it could negatively affect her survival. Luckily for her, this terrain appears to be no problem for her developing baby bones. Since she is still growing, her small size makes it easy for her to scale the dips easily. Finally, she makes it to a fairly moist area, Grand Plains. Even though Grand Plains is less likely to catch on fire, Impact Crater, an area where many creatures go to drink, is also one of the few hotspots for wildfires. She must hope this fire doesn't spread to Grand Plains and dies down soon if she hopes to grab a quick drink. She decides to travel deeper into Grand Plains. Surely by the time she grabs a meal, the fire would have died down enough for her to quickly rush in, grab a drink, and leave. Walking through Grand Plains, she spots two adult Caprosuchuses. Though they don't seem hostile, she must be careful if she wishes to stay off their menu. As she walks by, another Allosaurus caught her attention. He runs right past the Capros, straight towards Impact Crater. He takes a quick glance back to make sure he wouldn't have been followed by the two crocs. Intrigued by the sight of another Allosaur, She tries to call out to him. Realizing he didn't hear her, she ran over to meet him before it was too late. She was too late. There was no sight of this mystery allosaur anywhere. Or so she thought. Starting back towards the Grand Plains, the mystery allosaur followed not too far behind. She heard the sound of rushing footsteps coming towards her. She startled at the sight of the mystery allosaur. He performed a simple dance and friendly called, showing her that he was no threat. She returned the gesture. The two allos agreed to travel together. Hunting and survival would be overall easier with a buddy. Their next stop, the Grand Plain River. With the dry season comes quicker dehydration. These two allos must be careful around these waters. Getting a drink might seem harmless, but these waters are home to giant crocodilians, Deinosuchus. But unfortunately, these two won't be staying for a drink. Due to the rapid dehydration rates, this water is no longer drinkable. The two decide to look for a different water source. Little did they know, below the surface was a rather large Deinosuchus. The two allos could have very possibly just avoided a tragic fate. The two allosaurs travel inland back towards Impact Crater. Maybe the fire has been extinguished. The closer they got, the more they could hear the sound of crackling. The fire not only remained burning, but it has spread throughout all of Impact Crater. Desperate for water, the male allosaur came up with a risky idea. He needed to regain his stamina. He makes a dash for the waterhole. Unfortunately, by the time he made it to the water, the fire had done too much damage to undo. After just witnessed the other allosaur burn, she decided not to drink from Impact Crater just yet. Unsure of what to do, she left the scene, avoiding the same demise as her friend. Back in this area, she must remember to be careful. After what she witnessed, she seems to have too much on her mind. A misstep happens, then another. Luckily, no fracture occurred. However, she did manage to slightly hurt her leg. Heading back to Impact Crater, she's decided to wait till the fire dies down. She will now wait on this ledge until grabbing a drink of water has a clear path. After a couple hours of waiting, the fire finally broke. A rather odd phenomenon occurred overnight. Not only did the fire die, a whole forest bloomed within the hours. This area is also famous for its ability of rapid growth of foliage. Due to the hours she waited, was extra thirsty now. Thankfully, the water quality was just high enough to quench her thirst. The plants and weeds within the waterhole added a sweet flavor to it. The coolness of the night helped the water stay rather cold, much better than the hot springs water. Now that she was no longer thirsty, she had to focus on another need, her hunger. Back in Grand Plains, a lot more creatures roam. She spots a pack of Utah raptors. If she's not careful, she could very easily become entangled in a predicament that will most definitely go in the Utah's favor. Focusing back on her hunger, she must find something small enough to easily kill, but not too small that it hardly fills her up. She spots a delta dromaeus, a rather small yet quick herbivore. If she wants to catch this dinosaur, she must catch it off guard. It has detected her. She has lost her chance and must target something else. She has spotted a wounded Metricanthosaurus. Though not as small as the delta dromaeus, a lone metri wouldn't stand much of a chance against an allosaur. She pursues the hunt. Catching this dinosaur will be a challenge. Even though it was fast, she was faster and caught up to it quickly. It appears this Metricanthosaurus was not alone. Hunting one would have been tricky, but fighting two will be even harder. A large Carcharodontosaurus comes out of nowhere. This Allosaurus must evacuate this battle. As she tries to make an exit, she is bitten by the Carchar. A rush of adrenaline hits her. She now runs for the safety of her life. An adult Draco viper takes the opportunity to push her health even lower in hopes of her collapsing with no luck. She barely escapes with her life. She must find somewhere safe to hide until she feels better. She finds a rather large cave. She will use this as shelter until her health is restored. Until then, her search for food must wait. This Allosaurus has a rare mutation. Whenever her health is below halfway, her eyes will glow. The adrenaline rushing through her veins will grant her slightly quicker speed, and her bites will be more powerful. She is going to need all the help she could get if she wishes to catch a meal that can fight back. Once her health was stable enough, she began her journey out of Grand Plains. Now she was even hungrier than before. Even though Grand Plains has a high chance of small prey, the chances of it being alone are very low. She comes across a rather large river. She must find a way across it if she wishes to continue her search for food. Crossing straight through the water would be easy, but risky. She looks for another way across. A bridge. She takes the opportunity and uses it as a safe passing. If anything lurked in the water below, it would have to look elsewhere for food. Eager to find something edible, she picks up the pace. She comes across another water source. Though it's not food, thirst is still something she has to keep up. Once she finishes, she realizes she might have a better chance of finding food in the morning when she can see clearly. She finds a large bush and sleeps in it. The density of this bush will help ensure no dinosaur will find her as she sleeps. After a couple hours of rest, she was finally back to full health. Her wounds healed and scarred over. These scars could have a both positive or negative effect on how other creatures see her. These scars could indicate that she was in a battle and survived, but they could also indicate to how she was in a battle and lost. Now food is her main priority. If she doesn't find something soon, she will starve. She comes across another one of those critter mounds. Though it won't give her as much, it'll be enough to hold her off for a little longer. The chase begins. Now that she's bigger, catching this Didelphodon should come easier. It runs for its life, but its speed is nothing compared to a full-grown Allosaurus. The heavy footsteps of the Allo close in. There's nothing this critter can do. Just as before, killed by a large dinosaur trample. She can now enjoy her small meal, but it is just that, a snack. She must find something else if she wants to sustain her hunger. After searching a while with no luck, she's decided to resort to the omnivorous diet. If a dinosaur is desperate for food, they'll eat whatever they can find to fill their hunger. She spots death-cap mushrooms. Though the name is worrying, it's mostly harmless to most dinosaurs. But after eating these mushrooms, she must lie down for a couple minutes. These mushrooms expel a toxin which causes mild dizziness to whomever consumes it. Most wouldn't eat these because of this effect, but desperate times calls for desperate measures. But she won't relax just yet. She's on the search for more mushrooms. But she must not consume too many. Too many can cause extreme discomfort to a dinosaur's stomach. She must be careful. It appears she's willing to eat until her hunger is no more. If this is the case, she will soon learn to stay away from these mushrooms. The feeling of stomach discomfort will be new to her, but everyone learns one way or another. She seems to have realized the price of eating those mushrooms. She will remember for the future. Those mushrooms are a great no-go. Now feeling better, she leaves back on her search for some real food. Only this time she isn't being pressured by the rumble of her stomach. As she wandered the forest, an adult spearcrest spots her. Being the bigger creature, he could very easily put an end to her journey. He creeps up on her. She notices just as he charges towards her. She makes a break for the water. If she can cross it, she has a high chance of outrunning him. She touches land before he does. She takes the opportunity to put as much distance as she can between her and the spearcrest. But he doesn't give up very easily. He continues to pursue the hunt. So far he has run her across a river, into the forest, and now past a small Anodontosaurus and a rather large madrehorn, who appear to be rather amused by the sight of a frightened Allo running for her life. Thankfully, this Allo appears to be quicker and contains a slower drain to her stamina than the spearcrest. This gives her an advantage. Surely enough, he runs out of stamina, thus forcing him to abandon the hunt. He calls out to let her know he gives up and started in the opposite direction. She was lucky as her stamina was very close to running out. If that spearcrest's stamina lasted just a bit longer, she would have been caught in a predicament she very likely would have lost. Once more, she found a bush and used it as cover until she regained her stamina. Once she's no longer tired, she continues putting distance between her and the spearcrest. In only a couple hours she manages to travel back to Grand Plains, but over these hours, the food and water she still had in her system were down to below halfway full. She was in desperate need of them both. She makes her way into Impact Crater. Here she will grab a drink and hunt any critter she can find. Filling her stomach back up will be a tricky task, but she doesn't have much of a choice. A male saber-toothed cat. He notices the Allosaurus rushing towards the water. He gets up and goes over to her. Luckily, he doesn't seem to want any trouble. She's able to drink in peace. After Impact Crater, she rushed to White Cliffs in search for food with very little luck. Her stomach was now empty. She must find something she's willing to eat soon, or else she will starve to death. She finds a pile of bones. Though it's not meat, bones are something many carnivores will eat if they are desperate. And she is in fact very, very desperate. Unfortunately, this pile of bones will not be enough to fill her up. She is at the point in hunger when she starts to lose health. She must find something else, and quick. She was walking back through Impact Crater. She lies down for a second to take a breather. Her eyes started glowing red. She was now below half health. She spots another pile of bones and quickly eats it. She then spots a baby Rhamphorhynchus, a small pterosaur. She decides to take the opportunity. She got there too late. This baby Rhamphorhynchus gets to live to see another day, but now she must find something else to hunt. It laughs at her. She runs to Grand Plains and hunts there instead. She finds a termite mound. These mounds are a good source of food to any insectivore. A couple of these will be able to sustain her for a little while longer, but she still must continually be on the lookout for food. Lucky for her, Grand Plains is full of critters wandering about. She hunts critter after critter after critter, and termite mounds after termite mounds. She manages to fill her hunger halfway. This should be enough to last her while she travels to Young Grove. She must hope food will be just as easy to find there as it is here. She makes it to Young Grove as the sun starts to rise. She was now starving once more, but this time her health was so low that wounds started becoming more and more visible on her body. She absolutely needs food, and now, water. She searched and searched with no luck. She was extremely thirsty, hungry, and now exhausted. She's not too sure how much longer she can go on. Her health was now deadly low. It's only a matter of time if she doesn't find enough food to stop her hunger. She comes across a rather soft grass bed. To her, the ground has never felt so soft. She lies down and waits for her time. May she now rest peacefully.